Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Today is Monday, the 21st of July, 2025. My name is Rahman. I am here before you with the world current affairs, that is the latest global news. I hope you will listen attentively. Let us begin by taking the name of Allah. I am here after quite a long break. I made the last video on the 10th of July. It was a special video. After that, I went home because my mother's health was delicate, so I went to see her. Then there was an issue with some documents for my younger son, Rahman. There was a correction needed in his birth certificate, but that matter couldn't be resolved. In the end, I had to leave it with someone else because the work there is very slow. And since there are elections in Bihar, a special inquiry is going on regarding the voter list and so on. So everyone is busy with that. I thought it wouldn't be appropriate to stay longer, so I tried for 3 or 4 days, but I wasn't successful, so I came back. Because of this, there ended up being a gap of about 10 days. I left on Friday, and you could say I returned on Saturday. Then yesterday I did some studying, and now I am here before you. So on Sunday, there usually isn't much news, and I tried to catch up because life there was quite hectic, going to courts, offices and blocks and all that. I couldn't study much, and with visiting relatives and such, I would just glance at the news like you all do, meaning I couldn't follow it in detail at all. Yesterday I did quite a bit of recapping, so I'm here before you now. Today I'll briefly present things to you, and in the next 2 or 3 days, God willing, I'll be able to do a full recap. Then the videos will come as they used to, God willing. So in today's update, the biggest news is related to Gaza. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is extremely dire. It's gone from bad to worse, and it's on the verge of complete collapse. How those people are still alive, only God knows. And I mean, by the time the 7th of October comes around, it will be almost 2 years, with July ending. Then August, September, October, so for nearly 1 3/4 years, those people have been enduring bombings as well as extreme hunger and thirst. People are now starting to say that a double genocide is taking place. That is, if you survive the bombings, you'll die of hunger. And if you survive the hunger, you'll be killed by the bombings. This is the situation now. And Israel has intensified its actions. For example, the news yesterday was that there were 135 martyrs. And today you can understand there have been quite a few more. They kill people in the bombings, and then when they distribute aid like sacks of flour, sometimes they hand the sack to someone, and sometimes they shoot people instead. So you can imagine that around 700 to 800 people have been killed there by gunfire. And for the Israelis, this is an art. As for the indifference of Muslim countries, you already know about that. And then there are the fighters over there. Abu Baida has also expressed a great deal of frustration, saying that Muslim countries have completely neglected us and no one is willing to help in any way. While this kind of genocide is happening, there is news that in order to create pressure, another flotilla ship has set out from Italy. The people involved have said that there are about 20 to 25 of us. We have toys for children and some food and drink supplies. Our main purpose is to raise awareness, to draw people's attention, to remind people, and that's why we are going. Everyone knows that Israel will probably arrest us somewhere and send us back home. But the benefit is that if people's attention is drawn to this, then influential people like policymakers and others will also take notice. So the flotilla has already set out Kiran. There are also fighters there who are trying to resist as much as they can. And the situation is such that if their fighters succeed, then there is indiscriminate bombing as well. So this struggle is ongoing. I will show you both Al Jazeera and Times of Israel in a moment. After that, there are developments happening in Syria too. From the 13th of July, I thought I had left on the 10th or 11th. There is an area there, Sada and Dara, 2 regions. Up here is Damascus. This is Sweda. If you look here, you'll see that 2 tribes live in this area. The whole region is basically under the control of Ahmed Ashra, and this here is the Golan Heights, which is under Israeli occupation. This entire area is occupied by Israel, which they took from Syria in 1967. Now, in this region, the Druze tribe lives, the Druze community, which you can consider a very distant offshoot of the Shia sect. And here, Arab Bedouin tribes live, who are Sunni. So these two groups also ended up fighting each other. On the 13th of July, they tried to send in the army, but there was an attack even then, so the situation became very chaotic. Then Israel also got involved and started bombing Damascus and other areas. Eventually, when the matter of a ceasefire came up, Israel threatened that within 48 hours a ceasefire must be enforced and that no one should touch their Druze brothers, otherwise they would break their hands. They started making such statements. Now understand that the Druze tribe, which is almost separate from Muslims, is an outsider group. They consider themselves distinct and remain neutral. But Israel says that if they are neutral, then they are ours. Whatever belongs to the Muslims is ours too. So for their safety, you could say that Israel got ready for war, jumped in, started bombing the battlefield. While on the other hand, when it comes to Muslims, Turkey is silent, Saudi Arabia is silent, Egypt is silent, Iraq is silent, everyone is silent. Allah shows us this particular situation. See, there have been several significant truces established between the various Arab Bedouin tribes and the Druze tribes. However, on 3 distinct occasions, the truce was formally made and subsequently ended. Now, this Saturday, it happened for the 4th time, and there have also been reports that this agreement has also been broken. But for now, it still remains to some extent. So considering this is the 4th time, let's see what happens now. Now, there's a special envoy here. He is the US ambassador to Turkey and also the special envoy to Syria. Tom Brock has also given Ahmed al-Sharak a bit of a warning, saying, look, the sanctions that have been lifted from you are meant to ensure proper governance and the protection of minorities. If you are unable to handle this and show your true colors, then understand that the sanctions which have been lifted from you can be reimposed as well. How much time does this take? See, you should understand that the US appoints an ambassador, and in places that are particularly critical, they also appoint a special envoy. For example, if you look at the Russia-Ukraine issue, Keith Krach has been appointed as the special envoy for that. If you look at the Middle East, Steve Biegun has been appointed for Gaza and Israel. Similarly, the responsibility for Syria as a special envoy has been given to Tom Brock, who, you could say, oversees Lebanon, Syria, and Turkey as well. He has issued a warning saying, let's see what happens now. It's very difficult to know the real situation. And I must say that establishing stability in Syria is extremely challenging. In the end times, Syria will play a significant role, especially when the time comes for the descent of Imam Mahdi, peace be upon him. So in this regard, the situation in Yemen and Syria is as I described. Therefore, don't be hasty about it, don't panic, and keep monitoring the developments as they unfold. Wait for 2 or 3 years and see how things play out, and only then make any decisions. Along with this significant development, Tayyip Erdogan, the esteemed leader, spoke extensively about the historical and ongoing situation in Cyprus on the momentous occasion of its 51st anniversary. You are undoubtedly aware that the island of Cyprus was historically divided into 2 distinct parts, where both the Greek Cypriots and the Turkish Cypriots have resided for a considerable period. Back in the pivotal year of 1974, the Greek Cypriots made a concerted effort to gain complete and absolute control over the entire area. Their chosen method for achieving this objective was to orchestrate a military coup, a drastic action which immediately raised widespread fears that the military would indeed take over, subsequently unify the whole island under their command, and then ultimately hand it over to Greece. However, Turkey, with its historical ties and strategic interests, decisively intervened, and after a significant military intervention, intense fighting regrettably broke out. The United Nations, in an effort to restore peace and stability, then formally divided the island into 2 separate parts, and thus the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, TRNC, was officially formed. This newly established entity essentially became a separate and distinct country. The complex issue originally started in 1974, and after a protracted period of 9 years of intense conflict and negotiation, in 1983, the TRNC was finally established. It is important to note that only Turkey officially recognizes its sovereignty. No other nation or international body currently does. But despite this lack of widespread recognition, it is indeed a country in practice, and Turkey consistently provides it with substantial endowments, crucial aid, and all kinds of comprehensive support. Surprisingly, even other Turkic states like Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and others do not extend recognition to it, nor does Pakistan, a nation with whom Turkey shares strong diplomatic ties. Even though Erdogan provides such strong and unwavering support to Pakistan on the highly sensitive Kashmir issue, Pakistan, quite notably, does not reciprocate in the case of Cyprus by formally recognizing the TRNC. So instead of one unified country, there are now, in effect, two distinct entities, and this remains the current complex situation. But Tayyip Erdogan has made a very strong and resolute declaration stating, as long as there is life and breath in my body, we will stand firmly and unequivocally with you. You have absolutely nothing to worry about. After that, if we shift our focus to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, during the period of time I was away, Donald Trump, the former president, reportedly gave Vladimir Putin a 50-day ultimatum to comprehensively resolve the matter, emphatically saying, settle this within 50 days, or else you will see what significant actions we will undertake. So the crucial question remains, what exactly will happen in this particular and highly critical case? When asked what he would do after 50 days, he said he would impose sanctions. But sanctions are already in place. The real issue is that he says one thing and does another. He has consistently offered all the NATO member countries to significantly increase their respective defense budgets, and then immediately after that to procure and buy additional weapons and subsequently hand them over to NATO. Now, NATO is a collective defense organization. They will then supply those acquired weapons to Ukraine as part of their ongoing support. This way, no single country will be blamed. And after that, our weapons will be sold and you'll be spending your money. So fight as much as you want. Then, in other words, there should be profit even in disaster. We should profit even in war. We should not incur any losses. This is the formula they follow. Now, let's see what these people do. So, the Europeans are also trying to go their own way. All right. As long as Donald Trump is running NATO, let's stay under its protection. But as long as we have the opportunity, we should also become strong among ourselves. You can never trust Donald Trump. You never know when he might pull out. People are moving very quickly. They have started forming alliances among themselves. France is forming an alliance with the UK, and the UK is forming an alliance with Germany. They are all doing this among themselves so that if in the future the US does pull out, NATO will collapse. So then at the European level, they will create their own version of NATO. We'll just give it another name. In other words, the plan should be ready as well. They are working on this. Now, because of this, poor countries are being affected a lot. Now, you might ask, what happened to the poor countries? There are reports coming in that, as you know, when Donald Trump came into office, he said that all the aid we used to give to the outside world would be cancelled, except for two countries. One is Israel and the other is Egypt. Aid to these two would continue. For all the rest, he made cuts and so on. He had decided to cut almost $60 billion. So in many places around the world, it was through this aid that the education system used to run. The health system also used to run on it. Hospitals, environmental matters, all of these things gradually started collapsing. Food and drink here in Africa and in Latin America, all of it started collapsing. Everyone began to come together. But after that, the Europeans also tried to manage things a bit, because if he was spending 60 billion in a year, then the Europeans together were spending around 30 billion as well. But even they are gradually reducing their spending by 3 billion each year. They keep reducing it. And last year, out of the 30 billion they spent, they're now saying that they won't be able to spend another 3 billion and will only spend 26 billion. So most of the impact is going to be felt here. There's Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, East Timor, all of these used to do development work for us. Now they're saying we don't have money ourselves because NATO's defense spending has increased. We have to spend up to 5%. So our own house is in darkness. How can we light up someone else's? So now what are people supposed to do instead? These people used to get aid. So somehow their hospitals and schools would keep running. Now, if there's a gap or a vacuum somewhere, someone else will come to fill it. So now the responsibility that America and Europe, especially in Asia, were fulfilling, now that responsibility has shifted to three shoulders: China, South Korea, and Japan. Because these are developing countries. Japan is also a developed country. South Korea is also a developed country. China is developing. It hasn't become fully developed yet, but is making a lot of progress. Now, Japan and South Korea are saying, all right, we can help, but we are also under a lot of pressure. What is that pressure? It's the same pressure from Donald Trump. Go increase your defense spending, spend more. Why should we protect you for free or at a low cost? That pressure is saying that if we have to comply with Donald Trump's demands, then we won't have enough resources left to provide aid. This is the problem. China is saying, yes, we will help, and they provide up to 4 billion in aid at most, but even that is significant. If the gap remains, they might do even more. But China's way of providing aid is different from these people. They provide assistance for things like medical treatment and education. China says, no, we will help, but our aid will be for developing infrastructure, building roads, bridges, and other things like that. Even in this, they mostly try to give loans. They try to provide credit. If you need infrastructure, want to set up a factory, build a road, or construct something, then take money from us, build a road, and move forward in development and progress. So this is indeed the very nature of China's approach and its significant global influence. Therefore, in this critical regard, it is absolutely essential to fully comprehend and deeply understand that precisely because of the ongoing and escalating conflict between these powerful nations, the entire third world, comprising many developing countries, will inevitably confront and experience a multitude of severe and complex problems. And as you are well aware, whenever a significant crisis, whether economic, political, or social, strikes anywhere in the world, even in a small remote village, the very first individuals and communities to be profoundly affected and suffer the most are invariably the poor and the most vulnerable segments of society. They are often not prepared or willing to engage in direct negotiations or sit down for discussions with a major global power like America, given the historical complexities and power imbalances. However, they have indeed reached a crucial agreement to sit down and engage in dialogue with three prominent and influential European countries. They formally communicated their readiness, stating, all right, we are fully prepared and ready to meet this coming Friday in the historic city of Istanbul. So it is vital to clearly understand and recognize that the specific and key countries they will be engaging in these important discussions with are none other than France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. These three nations are collectively and widely recognized as the E3, representing three exceptionally powerful and influential European countries with significant diplomatic weight. In addition to these three pivotal European nations, high-ranking representatives from the broader European Union will also be present at this crucial meeting, ensuring a comprehensive and multilateral discussion. Therefore, the primary and central discussion will be conducted directly and extensively with these three major European powers, along with the EU representatives, to address the pressing issues at hand. At that point, Iran also doesn't have many options left, and they say, even when we try to negotiate, you people still attack, as America attacks, Israel attacks, and you people take away what is ours. You try to understand our position, but in the end, you still side with America. So in this way, we also have no other option left. So we say, all right, let's talk. What is it? There was an election in Japan yesterday, and the results came out. Shigeru Ishiba's party had to face defeat once again. That means Shigeru Ishiba is running a minority government. Last year, on the 27th of October, you could say that an election similar to the Lok Sabha was held there in the context of India. If we talk about the Lok Sabha, there are 465 seats. Out of those, he only got 191 seats, whereas he needed 233. So now, apart from this, none of the other parties managed to get 233 seats either. So since this was the largest party, they formed the government together. This is the situation in the lower house, that is the Lok Sabha. Now, as for the upper house, which in India is called the Rajya Sabha, or in America, the Senate is lower house is for 4 years, and elections are held only once in those 4 years. So if it was held in 2024, it will last until 2028. But as for the Rajya Sabha, or what they officially call the upper house, it is important to understand that this legislative body has a total of 248 seats. So considering this total, how many seats would be precisely needed for a clear majority? The answer is 125 seats. The election was held for 125 seats. And in order to achieve a majority in that upper house of 248, out of the total election, he needed to win at least 50 seats out of the 125. Even after forming a coalition, he couldn't win even 50 seats and got stuck at 47. So he fell short by 3 seats needed for a minority. As a result, he doesn't have a majority in the upper house, nor does he have a majority in the lower house. So now, a weak and unstable government will be running the country. Now, what's surprising here is that an extreme right-wing party has won more seats. Last year in the lower house, it had only won 3 seats, but in yesterday's election, it got 14 or 15 seats. The man who leads it is a YouTuber. He was an English teacher, then became a YouTuber, and during the lockdown, he formed this party. Gradually, step by step, he progressed. And look at how far he's come. You could say he's a disciple of Donald Trump. Donald Trump said America first, and he said Japan first. Both focused on the issue of migration, both on the issue of inflation. So you can understand, just like Germany has the AfD party or the UK has the Reform Party, similarly, this is Japan's version of such a party. So this party has emerged, and you can see that all over the world, everywhere, there are problems, and there is a huge gap between the haves and have-nots. Let's see what happens. Take Donald Trump, for example, took office on the 20th of January. So from January to July, that's a full 6 months. During that time, the results were observed. He said, I'll do this through tariffs, I'll do that, I'll stop wars. But he couldn't actually do anything. Not a single war was stopped. In fact, things got worse. That's why everyone says he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. The only thing he keeps repeating is that he stopped the India-Pakistan war. Otherwise, if 2 nuclear-armed countries had clashed, the whole world would have been destroyed. We stopped it, he keeps saying. But in that conflict, there was another thing. 5 fighter jets were shot down. 5 fighter jets were shot down. Now, if both sides had used nuclear bombs, who knows what would have happened? That's another matter entirely. But he was saying this to highlight the seriousness of the situation, that it wasn't just a minor skirmish. The war lasted several days and fighter jets were shot down. When it comes to the fighter jets, Pakistan claims that they shot down more of India's jets, while India is a bit hesitant to disclose the exact numbers. So now this has become another major issue, and the Indian Prime Minister is under pressure to reveal the numbers. They are not explicitly disclosing the precise number. Some sources say 1, some others say 2. The Pakistanis, for their part, claim 6, while Donald Trump, the former president, says 5. But even in those 5, he didn't specifically clarify whether they were indeed Indian jets. He just stated that 5 aircraft were unfortunately lost in the significant conflict between both sides. And in India, during the recent monsoon session, there was a considerable amount of bravado and overconfidence, with many thinking they'd simply come in acting like the police, waving their metaphorical stick around, and everyone would immediately fall in line. But as it turned out, absolutely nothing substantial happened. As for international tariffs, only 3 specific countries have actually managed to make formal tariff agreements with them: the United Kingdom, Vietnam, and Indonesia. This is primarily because they're imposing so many stringent conditions. So just understand that at first they used to consistently say there should be genuine justice. Whatever tariffs you impose on us, we'll impose the exact same on you, a truly reciprocal arrangement. But now their demands have significantly increased. Now it's No, we will impose even more tariffs on you, but you in turn cannot impose any tariffs on us. Just look at what's currently happening with Vietnam and other nations. That we'll impose 10 or 20% tariffs on you, but you should impose zero on us. Why? Our goods in your market, there just isn't the purchasing power for people to buy our products there. But your goods, when they come here, will sell in huge quantities. So from this perspective, you want to make trade deals like this. The trade deal with India is stalled for this very reason. There's no equality, like you make it free and we'll make it free too. Now they are threatening BRICS, saying that if BRICS takes even a small action, we'll impose an additional 10% tariff. And they're scared about BRICS, that if things move even a little toward de-dollarization, their situation will get really bad. So understand that the debt has already reached about 37 trillion. And there's another problem for Donald Trump, the case of Jeffrey Epstein. There are repeated demands to open his file, and now demands are coming from both parties, from the Democrats and the Republicans, asking, why aren't you opening it? They're saying, this is very serious, it involves young girls and all that, so they're insisting, open it up. But everyone suspects that his name is in there too. After all, he was a close friend. Jeffrey Epstein used to fulfill all his family's wishes, and even Mossad's name comes up in it. So understand this. All these Arab rulers who act so silent, they were all caught in the hands of people like Jeffrey Epstein. These people used to provide them with services, record their videos, and now these same rulers pose as the custodians of the two holy mosques, as champions of Islam, as the ones with the truest beliefs in the world, while these are their real deeds. That's why they're told, if you take any action today, tomorrow we'll air everything on CNN. We have all your secrets. The remote control is in our hands. The whole world will know just how righteous you really are. All right, fine. Do as much killing as you want, just don't release that film. Now, imagine if someone like Donald Trump is trembling, then what must be the state of these pleasure-loving rulers who should really be called hedonist? What must they be going through? All those who are silent understand that they are already caught in someone's grip, whether it's Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, or anywhere else. If they were truly human, they would be screaming. But the issue is tangled elsewhere. Someone's son is caught, someone's daughter-in-law, someone's grandson. Everyone is sacrificing the interests of the Ummah for their own personal interest. These were a few things I thought I should share with you all, and we'll meet again, God willing, in the Nike studio. The beginning has been made. Gradually, we'll discuss things in more detail. So let me show you a bit of Al Jazeera so you can get an idea of what's going on. Look at this. Israeli forces 115 Palestinians in Gaza as 19 people starved to death. Now people have started dying of hunger. Food just isn't reaching them. That is, in 2 days or even in a day, they're getting only one meal. Israel pounds Gaza as Palestinians mourn 92 people killed at aid site. Where they went to get help, this is what happened to them. So pray especially for these people, and also pray that the apathy of the Ummah ends, that these people take action and make sacrifices. Otherwise, they'll just keep perishing like beads on a string. May Allah grant everyone the wisdom to come to their senses. Jazakallah.